Here are the top free agent ads heading into week 5 of the fantasy football season. Quarterback Matthew Stafford, Los Angeles Rams, throws for 375 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Colts. But remember, this is the 3rd straight game Stafford has multiple touchdowns. That chemistry with Devontae Adams will only get better and better. As that gets better, you already know Puka Nacua is there. Matthew Stafford's going to get it done for fantasy the rest of the season. Running back Woody Marks, Houston Texans. Hey, look, Nick Chubb, still love him, still a good running back, but he can't create on his own. And with no credible offensive line for the Houston Texans, guess who can't create? Woody Marks can. And Marks goes off against Tennessee. 4 yards per carry, 69 rushing yards and a touchdown. Chips in 4 catches, 50 yards and another touchdown. Woody Marks, dual threat. Probably going to see that roll, grow, and grow. You got to have him on your roster because running backs are scarce. Next, Kenny Gainwell, Pittsburgh Steelers. Now I understand. Pittsburgh has a bye in week 5. Jaylen Warren was a late inactive. We have no idea the severity of the knee injury. We don't know if he'll miss time. We don't know if Gainwell will start another game. But I'll say this. After Gainwell posts 99 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 35 yards against the Vikings, he is going to get more work than he was previously seeing with Warren. Remember, Pittsburgh always liked to have Warren in a timeshare. Gainwell may have earned more work. And remember, if Warren misses time again, look out because Kenny Gainwell just showed us his possible upside. Next, Tyler Algier, Atlanta Falcons. Solid game in week 4, 16 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown against the Commanders. He has not been consistent. Week 2, he did well, 76 yards and a touchdown, but every other game, it's not been so good. He had a 24-yard game in the opener, 4 yards in week 3. So again, with the bye weeks and injuries, you're going to need somebody. Tyler Algier is that player you dump in your lineup and you hope you hit the right week where he's able to give you some significant production. Next, Kendre Miller, speculative ad here. Alvin Kamara has been very fine. If Kamara were to miss time, Kendre Miller continues to solidify him as the number 2 back in the New Orleans backfield. Miller goes 11 for 65 and a touchdown in week 4. He has seen his snap share go up each week. Against Seattle in week 3, 7 carries, 27 yards, but he has been impressive. Again, if he's pushed into a role, could be useful. Now some more deeper speculative ads. Tyjae Spears, we don't want any part of the Tennessee Titans offense, but Spears could come back from the injured reserve stint he was put on before the season. If he comes back, he could get into a receiving role, splitting work with Tony Pollard. Again, you don't want part of this Tennessee backfield, but if you need a running back, you may have to dig and just take a shot there. Next, Chris Rodriguez, Washington Commanders, pretty much splitting work equally with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Either of them would have to score a touchdown to have fantasy value for you. Chris Rodriguez has 7 carries for 59 against Atlanta in week 4, 11 carries against the Raiders the prior week, 39 yards. Rodriguez is a good back. If it's possible, either Krosky-Merritt or Rodriguez pulls ahead of the other overtime. Speculative ad. Amari DiMercato, garbage time touchdown. Not really. Well, he gave Arizona a late tie game with that one. But DiMercato not heavily involved. Trey Benson, the starter, wasn't heavily involved. But DiMercato is the clear number 2. And we learned in the game against Seattle, he is their hurry-up back. So in that case, if you think the Cardinals are going to lose, he could get you some receptions. Finally, Xavier Scott, Minnesota Vikings, looked really good as a receiver in the game against Pittsburgh. 6 catches, 43 yards, touchdown, 8 targets. Some of that was, garbage time when they're trying to make a comeback. But look, if Aaron Jones is going to keep missing time, if Scott continues to impress as a receiver, maybe he gets some low-end PPR value while he has a shot. Deepest of deep leagues, complete desperation. Raheem Mostert finally got a little playing time. 37-yard run for the Raiders. 4 carries, 62 yards. Clearly way, way, way behind Ashton Genty. But again, desperate times, desperate measures. That's what Raheem Mostert would be. If you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second, hit like and subscribe. Helps us keep the fantasy advice coming your way. And if you want even more of RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, got a 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. You go to RotoWire.com, choose that subscription, use the code YouTube15 at checkout. Let's go to the wide receiver spot. As of this recording, which is halftime of the Monday night game, Romeo Doubs has 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys. I know that's no great shakes. A lot of people could probably do that. But Romeo Doubs has been playing significant snaps. 70% in the first 2 games. Week 3, 89%. We have seen him get 2 to 3 catches a game. He did have a touchdown in week 2, 68 yards in week 1. Rotational piece. Again, 5 weeks and injuries. Dobbs could pop up in an easy matchup at any time and be useful. Next, Christian Kirk, Houston Texans. Only 3 catches for 20 yards on 4 targets against Tennessee. But remember, this was a game Texans played with a lead the whole way. They pulled away in the second half. They had no need. They were able to lean on their rushing attack late. Christian Kirk was targeted 8 times his first week back in week 3. Clearly rusty, but again, he's part of this offense, should be the number 2 receiver. If you need help at receiver, PPR league, you definitely want to consider adding him. Next, De'Ami Brown, Jacksonville Jaguars, inactive with a shoulder injury. Week 3, he left the game with that same shoulder injury, which is why he had poor stats. But in the first 2 games, 3 for 52. Week 2 against Cincy, 5 for 57 and a touchdown. He is the one player on Jacksonville receiving that has actually done something significant with Trevor Lawrence. So definitely want to look at De'Ami Brown if you're in those deeper leagues. He should get back from the shoulder injury. He did put in limited practice prior to week 4. Next, unfortunately, Malik Neighbors suffered an ACL injury. That'll be likely confirmed on Monday, depending when you're watching this, as to when that designation comes down. But that's the full expectation. So therefore, Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton become de facto 1-2 receivers on the Giants. Jackson Dart's not going to push a lot of volume, but Wan'Dale Robinson, we already know that Dallas game, 8 for 142 and a touchdown. Washington, 6 for 55. Jackson Dart's going to need a reliable possession receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson could be a nice PPR special. Darius Slayton did go 3 for 44 with Neighbors injuring his knee in week 4. Again, Slayton could get some targets. Occasional touchdown guy. Don't know how many they score, but again, Slayton could have some floor value if you are hurting. This next one is really speculative. Kendrick Bourne, San Francisco 49ers. Ricky Pearsall dinged up a knee in week 4. Jawan Jennings still looks like he's not completely healthy. Brandon Ayuk is nowhere close to coming back. The 49ers just keep suffering injury after injury. Bourne did have 4 targets, only caught 1 for 17 in week 4, but in week 3, he played 73% of the snaps. Caught 4 for 38. So again, if he is forced due to injury into a bit more of a role, remember another week of Brock Purdy health could mean better. But again, that's a desperation. And tight end, these are really bottom of the barrel ads. Elijah Arroyo, Seattle Seahawks, went 2 for 44 on 4 targets. A.J. Barner actually scored a touchdown. But it was interesting to see how Seattle was trying to get him involved in the offense, Elijah Arroyo. And in that case, he was drafted in the 2nd round. They may have a plan for him. He's done very little to date in the season. But again, deep league speculative ad there. Finally, Cole Kmet was targeted 9 times for the Bears. Only caught 3 for 46 against the Raiders. Very little yardage on the season, averaging about 20 yards a game. But Kmet did have a week 3 touchdown. It looks like Colson Loveland did miss week 4, but Kmet seems to be the tight end of choice. Again, just a desperation play there as well.